Good morning. Welcome to Blood Moon Oracle. Today we are taking a look at things a little bit different today for the encouragement. Today we are going to be taking a look specifically at energies available as we enter into the new year. I feel Spirit saying a lot about being prepared and delving into this new door, this new portal of the new year. There's something very intense, something very special about that. I'm feeling here. And so I wanted to delve in a little bit deeper. Today I'm doing two different readings. My first reading will be with pink quartz. My little pink quartz heart will be the first reading. And then the second reading is going to be with Carnelian. My little Carnelian crystal here. Both of them very beautiful. And so I would ask here, first of all, let me welcome you. Where's my manners? Let me welcome you to Blood Moon Oracle today. Like, share, comment. If you're new, passing through, you are more than welcome to take a look around. If you feel led, subscribe, do. And hit the bell if you do so you'll be notified in case we post new content or go live. And so I would ask that you take a moment here and choose one. Pink quartz or Carnelian. One is very much connected to the heart center, cleansing, renewing, very purifying stone, the quartz. And then we have the Carnelian is connected to the sacral chakra, right? Which is talking about a lot about our passions, bringing acceptance into cycles of life around our passions, the energy and courage around that area, promoting like ambition and health when it comes to well-being, when it comes to things like passion, sexuality, right? This is dealing with that part of our energy center. And so if you've chosen this is going to be reading number 1. Reading number 2, okay? And I will put timestamps down below for you. All right, let's get started. Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. And so Blood Moon Oracle here, we're going to go ahead and get started. So for reading number 1, I did pull several cards here, working with a couple of different oracle decks for these readings. The first one is my Oracle of Portals deck, and then the other one is the Oracles of 7 Energies deck. And then for tarot, I pulled from my Tarot of Oppositions deck. And so here's the first spread here. And we'll go ahead and get started. All right. And so the first card, as you just saw, is going to be around the energy. When we look at the portal that's opening up for group number 1, is going to be rebirth. It was the big fiery card that you saw in the middle there, talking about rebirth. And when we talk about rebirth, we're definitely, it always brings up the energy of the phoenix. And the phoenix talks about the energy of rising again and again and again. I love this card. It's very fiery, very much in my element. And it really reminds me overall for reading for group number 1, if you chose the pink quartz, This is possibly around the energy that's coming in around the new year for you. And it's really about not succumbing, not laying there and just accepting defeat, right? It's about being reborn. It's really a process, as many of us have come to find out if you've lived any time, right? That failure is not an end. It is just really a transformation into something greater. It's a dynamic at work that actually helps us to understand and transmute suffering in any kind of way. When things feel like they might be falling apart or everything just seems to be squandered, right? What if it was really a transformation into something more? Not necessarily saying this is it, stop, go sit down somewhere and don't try it again. No, maybe this is actually leading us into challenges that help us to learn, that teach us what it means to evolve, to pivot, that teach us what it means to be challenged and changed and to grow even stronger for what's coming next, right? Because the fact of the matter is that difficulties and hardships, they actually teach us empathy. It helps us to see beyond our own shoe tips, you know what I mean? And it actually feeds us and helps us to grow in wisdom. There's something to be learned about from every experience, especially failure, hardship, difficulty. And then on top of that, pain helps us to be able to experience a greater capacity of joy, right? There's always a balance when we look at things, right? To the extent that we're able to go into the depths of experience when it comes to pain and difficulty and, when it comes to challenge, right? There's also the opposite end when it comes to joy and happiness, right? It's a balance. So if you've gone deep, deep, deep into suffering, right? That says that there's also the possibility for you to reach that same level of joy on the other end of that experience. And that by itself is, very encouraging. And so again, it's not saying that we need to accept these things or try to avoid the painful feelings. No, this is a time to actually be open to it and surrender to it. Breathe into the pain or this experience, this difficulty, and to even take an opportunity to humble ourselves. There's possibly a cleansing that happens and a revitalization that takes place during that fire, a purification, right? And so as we embark upon the new year, for those that may find themselves entering into this kind of energy, maybe you're stepping through, carrying this disappointment of what didn't work last year or, for the couple of last years, right? But there's a new endeavor that is wanting to appear. And this is about taking the perfect opportunity as we enter into this new phase of life for some of you to reinvent yourself, maybe for some of you. And possibly for some of you, maybe even revitalize, reinvigorate your purpose. Like, this is a time to ask, what type of things do I want to leave behind? And what type of things do I want to embrace, right? It's understanding that life is not standing still. It's not linear. It's an ever-evolving process. It's an ongoing alchemical process. Everything that has been created is constantly releasing the old in order to embrace the new or awaken the new. We're constantly changing. And of course, there's moments where it's bittersweet, especially if we've really enjoyed something. And there comes a time where we realize we have to let it go or let them go. Sometimes it can be bittersweet, but it's understanding that even in that releasing, there's an acceptance and awakening to what's coming, to the present, and what the future holds. And so the new year, for some of you that chose number 1, Spirit is saying there's going to be some rebirth here, the energy of rebirth. Doesn't mean it has to be painful, but it's consoling to know that even if it is, right, there's a promise of something new coming in. And for my Oracle 7s in perfect harmony, the Oracle's gift and smoke and mirrors. Ooh, very interesting combination of energies here. 42 could be significant. Someone could be 42. You could be a life path number 11. And so there's something here about receiving intuitive messaging or receiving guidance from a spiritual source here. And this guidance may very well help you to come into balance with what's happening during this process of transitioning into the new year, into the energies of the new year and what the new year holds. Because there is some specific positioning here that's going to be important. And there's some need to understand how you fit in with the whole. I get the feeling like this is not just going to be about you. This is going to be about how you fit in with an overall picture. There could possibly be commitments that you are connected with or destined to connect with in this new year, because it feels like some collaborating that's going to be important, and this interdependence that's going to be important. Maybe even very harmonious partnerships in this next year that's going to be important for this rebirth and this revitalization and experiencing new things for you. Maybe this is something that you've already, understand to be true. Maybe this is just a confirmation of that yet again, what's coming for you. But I feel like you have something that's very instrumental. Instrumental, right? We see the tuba here. You have something very instrumental that's going to be very valuable when it comes to these collaborations. And so this is going to be important. How you fit in with the whole, what it is that you have to offer and how you're bringing it to the table. And for some of you, this may be a time to really evaluate where you stand, how you stand, especially if you're bringing in specific experiences. We are talking about the Phoenix, which many times talks about this level of having to rise up from something difficult. And so this may, in fact, bring an opportunity for you to evaluate the situations of 2024 so that those things can be dealt with, right? So that we're not bringing in baggage that doesn't need to be brought in. Because again, this is about releasing so that we're free to receive. And making sure we're not bringing forward things that could possibly sabotage the future endeavors, future successes that are available here. Because we also have here the energy of doing, things like taking a really good look at ourselves. Maybe a self-inventory could be really beneficial. To look and see if you have people that are very instrumental in your life that you trust, asking them, for feedback in different areas that, you may be concerned about. What do you think about this? Just kind of dabbling. Not that that would override how you feel about yourself, but it's always good to have a second pair of eyes, And so I do feel this energy coming in, and I feel like there could be a level of guidance coming in. And that could be, tapping into your resources around you, your trustworthy resources, those that are, where you are or where you want to be. Okay. And this almost feels like even spiritual insight. It feels like spiritual insight with the Oracle's gift, because this is all about really seeing the energy and the gift of seeing into the future in some type of way. The clairvoyance is coming through here. Some of you may be a bit clairvoyant, and you may look for guidance around that in some type of way. You could be having signs all around you. That's going to be that second sight coming in to help you see things clearly. It almost feels like there's like a fated determination for the future around choices that you'll make. And everything is going to be supporting, guiding you to see that clearly. This is about recognizing potentials. When it comes to making determinations. When we ask for something, especially as it pertains to our connection with our source, when we ask for a sign, guess what? Spirit is definitely faithful in guiding us to what we need, and is very much able to use things and those outside of us. And so there may be a level or a source of support coming from outside of you, but it could also be you noticing these things. And so don't hesitate to be open and to trust in your own capacity to know what's right, in your own ability to tune into source and hear directly from source and see signs being reflected within you and outside of you as well. This is really, I feel like this is a gift that's given to you in this situation. For many of you, you'll be able to tap in some type of way to get the information you're needing, to know that you're on the right track, because there's going to be possibly some confusion here. One of the energies that came out is smoke and mirrors, excuse me. And this is the need to see through conditioning, right? This is almost like the energy of illusions, smoke and mirrors, recognizing the truth, being able to see beyond the superficial level of things, seeing below the surface, and being able to even heal misguided perceptions within us and moving beyond, these what is the word I want to use? Moving beyond our learned behaviors is a nice way to put it. It's very hard to avoid certain patterns, especially if you grow up in a certain environment or within a certain system. Certain things are going to be automatic according to that system that we grew up in. But this is coming to a place of being able to recognize what's true and what's not, even though it has been presented that way. There's so many things, and it's mind-blowing, when you come to a point where you begin to recognize what's really truth for yourself, even though it has been taught as truth. But you can see, like, common sense says, that that's not red, but all this time we've been told that it was, it's like things like that. I'm just using that as an example. But there's going to be things that entering into this new year that is going to be so plain, and it's going to be shocking, mind-blowing. Like, you may need to pick your jaw up off of the floor, I feel like, because there's going to be things that'll be like really made plain. And you'll need to really understand and be accountable for the biases and the way that we view the world, the way that you've been taught to view the world is going to be one of those things. And so this is going to be a need for a very high level of intuition. I think that's really why the Oracle's gift pulled up here, because it's going to be almost like a growth spurt that you're going to experience within your spiritual perception entering into the new year as you step into these new opportunities. Doesn't mean it's going to be spiritual, but it definitely could be. It definitely could be. Now, looking at the tarot here, we have the Nine of Cups that came out. We have the Seven of Pentacles. And then we have the Four of Cups. And the Nine of Cups came up on the light side. And so this is going to provide a time where you'll have the opportunity to experience things like health, good health, possibly good relationships when it comes to love, good relationships and collaborations with work. And, being able to bring things to an expected end if you're willing to put in the work and bring it to completion. And these things will offer opportunity to bring in wealth. That's what the Nine of Cups is saying. That this is coming towards you. These opportunities are coming towards you. But it also requires that you understand that there requires for you to know how to recognize it. There's a responsibility of perception here that falls on you. It's being able to recognize it with maturity and with acceptance as well. And I feel like this speaks to, some people just not being able to receive. Some people just don't know how to receive. And because they don't know how to receive, they don't really know how to give, right? And how it almost feels like that energy of being reciprocal, right? I do see collaborations coming in heavily for you here, my group number ones. It has something to do with giving and receiving, collaborating. Understand the value of what you have, not just giving it to anybody, but there's a level of perception required here. Knowing the perfect opportunity that aligns with you, that will actually reciprocate or bring the desired result right, back to you. And so this is not just going out, just finding anything or anyone, but there's a level of guidance, wisdom that needs to be in place during this process here. Let me see. And so overall, I do feel like with the Nine of Cups, there's going to be a high level of contentment available here, available to you, if that's what you desire. The Nine of Cups is also a card that represents in the tarot wish fulfillment. So what is that thing that you've been desiring? What is that success that you've been wanting to pull in for yourself? Maybe it didn't happen in 24. Well, maybe 25. The opportunities are greater. The chances of bringing this to fruition is greater. And there's a level of enjoyment, I feel, is also going to be here. And so it doesn't feel like it's going to be get it done, get her done, crank, crank, crank. But it feels like it's going to be a very pleasurable experience with the Nine of Cups. This feels like something that is going to be enjoyable for you. It may even be surprising. I did find that the Four of Cups came out as well, but it came out on the one thing that's coming out. Spirit is saying, going back to the Nine of Cups, you will need to know how to reciprocate is important, because you'll be receiving things this year, and you'll need to know how to reciprocate, to be guided to reciprocate. And it doesn't necessarily mean if someone comes and gives you $100, you give back $100. There's a level of intuition here, right? It's being able to look past what's seen on the surface. They may give you $100, but they may need something different than money, right? And so there's a level of intuition and reciprocation here that Spirit is saying is important this year. Now, going back to the Four of Cups, but it came in on the shadow side. And on the shadow side, the Four of Cups is a very reserved energy. It's very closed off. It's very predictable. And so there may be a need here in this next year to open up a little more for those of you that know, right? It may be a need to be willing to step outside of your normal routine of things. And also to find moments of silence is important. If you're a meditator, yes, lots of that this next year. That's going to be important with the guidance aspect. If you're a prayer, lots of that next year. There's the element of needing to be really solidly, securely connected, okay? Especially as it pertains to working with others, relationships, collaborations, because there's this mental thrust that's going to be happening this year. It's going to be a lot of needing to be tuned in, but not overly to where you just kind of, become overly fatigued with it, right? There's a balance that needs to be there that won't tire you out. But at the same time, it needs to be utilized so it does not become stagnant, right? And so that seeking inwardly is necessary. Now, fours are about foundation. So there's something here too about restoring a foundation. And so I did feel early here that there was some invigorating for those of you that may in fact be carrying something forward or continuing something. There may be a need to go back in and reconfigure is the word I'm hearing. reinvigorate something, reestablish the foundation, especially as it pertains to like connections. And this feels a little bit emotional. We are dealing with cups. So there may be a need to go back and check on connections that were a part of what you were involved in 2024. And for those that are connections that you'll be pulling forward, it's almost like a check-in to see where we are, to see what we could have done better this year, how we could have connected better to be more successful, right? And to do that with clarity. Before going in, don't just go in half-heartedly or half-cocked, but do it with clarity. Before you go in, find out what needs to be asked, what type of checkpoints need to be visited. Make it really simple and do it with love, okay? And then the last tarot card that came out was the Two of Pentacles. Now, the Two of Pentacles did also come out on the shadow side. And so there's something here, again, about connections, collaborations, possible choices. The Two of Pentacles brings in the energy. When it's on the shadow side, it's fatigue, because we've been doing so much. The Two of Pentacles can represent this card of juggling too many things, too many commitments, and carrying too much, putting too much energy, time, and effort into things that did not actually bring back and replenish you, right? This may be about, if you found yourself doing that in 2024, this may be about not taking the same approach this year. There's some things that need to change. There's some things that actually do need to be brought into balance in 2025. We can't go another year like that. If that's what 2024 was like for you, this is talking about grounding. And maybe it didn't come to a halt where things just ended up a wreck. Well, 2025 is going to be much different. And so Spirit is saying things need to be grounded. They need to be brought into balance. Twos are about balance, especially when it comes to like partnerships. And the Two of Pentacles is how you're exerting your energy. If it's not pouring back into you, then that's one of those things that need to be left behind, because this year is going to be very important when it comes to balance. When it comes to balance, if it's not reciprocating, then it does not need to come forward, because there's nothing there. We don't really have the effort and the time and the energy or the resources to just give away in 2025. This rebirth is about a new way of rising up to success again. Okay, we're trying this again. And we are rising in a whole different way this time. Any other advice coming in for my group number ones before we end this out? Yeah, for many of you, we have the Star here and the Queen of Pentacles on the light side. So for many of you, this is the second card we got for wish fulfillment. This is about your dream. This is about something that you've asked or you've prayed for, something that you've been working to achieve. It could be about, the Queen of Pentacles is very much attached to materials, right? It could be about, something that you want to do that will bring in stability for you. The dream job, the business, the project, right? The art, the function, this great big thing that you are collaborating with others, right? That you want to bring up to a certain place. that's going to offer something in return that's going to be lucrative, something that you can use and touch, something, viable. And so this could have something to do with finances. We are talking about the Queen of Pentacles. Yeah, I'm hearing, where's the money, But it's not all about money. It's all about being able to provide, being able to support, being able to thrive in life. And then the star element is being able to pour into a source of replenishment, right? Something that never dries out, that's ongoing, beyond the fact that this is something you've asked for, this wish fulfillment. And so you've asked and Spirit is guiding you to it. That's what I feel here. Now, it may not have gone right the first time, the second time, the third time, the fourth, right? That's what the Phoenix is about. It's about rising again and again until you reach the destination. Failure is not an option, basically. And so 2025 will be rising up again for my group number ones. If you chose the pink, this reading was for you. Rebirth, right? There's something new and exciting. There's a different approach that's coming here. That's going to offer a lot. It's going to offer a lot. And so be ready, okay? That was my group number ones. Thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate you so very much. All right. And now for my group number twos. Oops. For group number twos, we have Beyond Fear. Beyond Fear. All right. And so, of course, we see in this picture here, and this was the crystal for group number two. So if you chose the Carnelian crystal, isn't that beautiful? This was a gift. If you chose the Carnelian, both of them were gifts, actually. But if you chose this, the Carnelian number two, this reading is for you. All right. And so Beyond Fear is showing someone, skydiving. Of course, that's like one of the most fearful things that we could do. But I feel like this is really pointing to, as I look at this picture, that's one of the most fearful things that we could do, at least on my list of things, jumping out of an airplane with just a little backpack. Are you kidding me? Now, I have skydove, but not in an actual airplane. There's this modulation where they have this influx of air according to your weight and all of that, where it lifts you up in this tube thing. It's like a safe way to skydive. I don't know if I'll ever be ready to actually skydive out of an actual airplane, but that's neither here nor there. Moving back to our oracle card, this is talking about this energy of doing that thing, that many see as, oh my gosh, did she really do it? It doesn't, just because you do it, right, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're just this big, brave hero, right? Because doing it doesn't actually erase that feeling of fear, or it doesn't take that away, right? It actually transcends it for the person that is bold enough, right? They actually do feel fear. And it may be something that you never stop feeling, because there's always the truth of the matter. Like, what if, my backpack doesn't, pop out? What if I faint and don't do it? There's all the what ifs, right? So there's always the element of fear. It doesn't alleviate it, the fact that you're willing to step out and do that thing that everyone else is too afraid to do. But heroism actually transcends. It transcends fear. The fear is still there. You could look at his face and see. It does. I hope you can see that. There's a bit of fear there, right? But the desire to take the action is greater than the fear. Do it anyway. Do it afraid, right? Is what's coming to my mind. And I feel like this next year, 2025, for my second groups, Spirit is giving the opportunity to take action. It's time to take action despite fear that could be being felt during this. This is, not about getting a rush from taking a risk that's not safe, but this is about being brave enough to protect. This is about being brave enough to go out and secure or rescue or obtain something that is possibly precious, that's possibly very significant or worth the effort, right? This could be art, creating that art that's like, oh, I couldn't do that. Like, what would people think? Creating that book, writing that book about your life, despite all of the moments that would expose things and people, right, for who or what they are. It's like, what would they think, or how will they respond, right? This means putting yourself out there and allowing yourself to be unique and vulnerable in ways that feel very intimidating, very scary. But the flip side of taking that risk is you actually standing in your authenticity, you being able to communicate with others from your heart space, from your truth. That's what this is about. Okay. And whatever this is, I feel like it could be around Spirit actually moving you to do that. Spirit is advising you to take action with something similar. It may not be what I've just named, but there's something here. This portal that 2025 is opening up the door, the avenue. It's setting the stage for you, for this to take place. So what is that thing? Ask yourself, what is that thing that you have put off, that you've placed in the background, in the shadows of your life, that has been feeling too risky to do? That's what we're talking about here. This is your confirmation that it's time to actually step out and believe in yourself, to make the choice that you've already been considering, right? And to do that would be a very wise choice, right? So I guess this question is presenting the question here. What would you do if you had no fear at all? What would you do? That's the thing that we're after here in 2025. What is precious to you in this situation? And what is worthy of your protection? You're protecting it. What would it be? What would the outcome be for you? The ideal outcome. And then think about like what challenges would arise during this experience of this. What are those things that you've envisioned, right? Are there things that you've been kind of moving away from to avoid attention or to avoid exposure, to avoid losing something or someone, to avoid emotional pain, right? Are there things that you wish that you could do, but you keep telling yourself, I can't do that. I could never do that, right? Those are the things that we're after, okay? Because the fact of the matter is, if there's something that's important to you, right, whether it be like a relationship, a career, it could be things that involve some level of fear. If these things weren't things if these things are people, are things or people that you didn't care about, then you'd have nothing to lose, right? You'd have nothing to lose, and you wouldn't feel that energy of fear. But the fact is that you do. Spirit is saying you do care about that thing, about that person. So this is going to require for you to go beyond fear and take that action anyway. Do it anyway. I'm an actor and a singer. Every time I go out on stage, I'm scared. Like I get the jitters, I get the butterflies, but I can't let that stop me from doing the show. I go out there with my knees knocking, right? If we waited until we had no fear, then no one would ever do anything. No one would ever take action, and no one would ever be saved. And so, in the words of Nelson Mandela, like he said, I've learned that courage is not the absence of fear, but it's triumph over it. Okay? It's triumph over it. And so that's what we're after in 2025 for group number 2s. This is going to be a year to step beyond your fear. Spirit is saying it's time. It's time to move those fears aside and listen, trust and believe in yourself. And that you are worthy of this. Again, if it didn't cause fear, then you wouldn't even care. Because you wouldn't even be spending time thinking about it, right? But it does. And so there's something there worth looking into. Now, the oracle cards that came out for my group number 2s is endless possibilities. Endless, limitless possibilities. A higher view. And feeling the world. Look at that. She has the world in her hands. The world in her hands. And so let's see. With endless possibilities, of course, that is self-explanatory. This is delving into potentials that we have not, right? There's a series of stars coming up from her third eye chakra, right? And it's expanding upward. It's stars, right? Immediately I think of the limitless galaxies, right? Just when we've reached the limits of this one, we enter into another one. Like it's limitless. Space is limitless. We don't have enough time to explore the expanse of what we call space beyond the world that we live in. And this is kind of delving into that kind of energy. It's unlimited potential. And really it's dealing with our limited beliefs. right? Just because we believe in what we can see and feel doesn't mean that there is not something more than that. And this is also about, the filter that we place on our belief systems. Also, not only because we can't see it or feel it, but also because there's something there that needs healing too. And so this is all about tapping into our awareness to really discern. Discern means to be able to feel something that may not be seen or evident, but there's a knowing. There's a trusting in what we are feeling. Discern. And this discerning is around what is possible for you in having the courage to leap beyond that we see, right? When we look at the world through the lens of our own experiences, our own personality, our own conditioning, right? What we've been taught to see, right? That's the filter that determines whether we believe in, this expansive, limitless universe of endless possibilities, right? That's the filter. Or we've limited to various degrees. But when we take that filter off and we remove that belief system that we have that's based on, lack, right? Or it's based on difficulties. And those may, in fact, be things that we don't even realize are operating. It could be things operating unconsciously. Then we are able to open up and see what's truly available. And so this may be Spirit just wanting you to ask yourself, what is it that I believe about this situation that I'm so fearful of? What is my belief around that? And what are the limitations that's been placed on this situation and the outcome that I've actually aligned with, that's keeping me from delving out to see? Right? Because we all know intuitively, right, that there's more than meets the eye. We all know that. I don't care what your belief system is. Everybody knows that. We see it in different ways. We express it and we give it different words. But those words are proof that we believe that there is more than what the eyes can see. Even sitting here today, I see, right, everything very plainly here, but there's more here than what's seen. If you know, you know, right? And so it's asking ourselves, okay, now we do know that. That's plain, it's obvious, but are you willing to act on that? Are you willing to act on your intuition? Are you able to discern what to do? Because how we think of it, what we believe, that's what it is, right? As you believe, so it will be for you, okay? And then as you believe, it's like your energy is attracting a match to what you're believing inside. And so the conditions meet the expectations, right? So either the world will remain as you see it, as you believe it, or there could be different outcomes that become available to you as you open up, right? And realize maybe there is room to see something more. Everything shifts as we open up to a greater vision of what it is and a more expansive meaning to life as well. But it's up to us, right? We can't shove this experience on people. Everybody has to experience this and choose to for themselves. And it all points back to this relationship that we have with Source, with the divine, okay? And so Endless Possibilities is asking you to take a look at what it is that you want and understand that it can be yours if you believe it to be so. Okay? Does that mean that you're going to be able to just jump over the moon just because you believe it? No, I'm being realistic. For whoever's seeing this is tapping into whatever that thing is that you've been afraid to do. But it's taking you to a place to take a look at what you're believing about yourself and about that thing and the possibility. So this is being real, okay? Realistic. And asking you to actually look at it from a different realistic perspective. Because again, this goes back to our belief system. What do you believe about it? And we're asked to take a higher view. As you can see, she's riding on the top of this owl, right? Possibly able to look over the land from a higher perspective, seeing things not only from a higher perspective, but from a conscious place of neutrality. And what that means is possibly letting go of judgment. Whatever you've already determined, maybe there's a need to take a look again to see if you could see something different. Or you've already assumed that it's not going to work, right? But take a look again to see if that actually is possible. Not only that, but to develop this energy of detachment, right? It's the ability to remain unbiased. You know, sometimes we're not able to even see past the tips of our shoes or our nose. We can't see ourselves, you know, in the light of truth. And it happens to all of us every now and then. We fall into like automatic responses. We fall into this very programmed response, this very conditioned place of what I'm expected, what's expected of me, instead of what feels right. And what feels right requires for us to be tapped into our own awareness. And not to be reactive, right? Just repeating old patterns without thought. But this is about really being tapped into the awareness, being tapped into the moment, and being curious too. You know, even being in a position of avoiding, you know, trying to live to avoid triggers can keep us trapped too. And keep us in our comfort zone, keep us, you know, policing and, you know, as we are trying to delve out and do new things. It could cause us to be like stifled in a way. But this is a time of being aware and being able to allow yourself to connect, like in a way with things, with others, that helps you to step outside of our little perception of our world, what we've essentially accepted to be, right? There is more, basically, is what Spirit is saying. Yeah, so imagine if you were able to possibly step into someone else's shoes. Or even, as this picture describes, ride on the back of a bird that flies high. Imagine how much more of the land you can see instead of just your house, your front porch, your yard, your backyard, your street. Imagine how much more you would be able to see in relation to your home, everything around it. You would see things very differently. You would possibly have more information that would bring in more accuracies about where you are and who you're around and what the makeup is of your community, right? And it would actually allow more to be available to you. You would understand what's more accessible from your place of being when you do that. And so doing that in life also allows us to do that too. Being able to take a look, step outside of our own experience to actually take a greater span of view. Yeah. I was trying to think of an example, a real life experience to pull it down from riding on the back of a bird to, so a good example would be, say if you are used to a certain way of maybe connecting with your spirit, with your source, with the divine, right? And that's all you know, because that's all you've been taught. And, say you decide to go over just for sake of curiosity or understanding to a mosque. Like you see all these people that come out of mosques on the same day that you go and, surrender your service to your source, right? And so you decide to go over to the mosque if possible, and just kind of see how they connect, right? Just to get a greater understanding, why they cover their crowns, just to get a greater understanding why the men, sometimes we'll see them in different styles of clothing. That's different than what we see over here in a Western civilization, right? Things that we wouldn't necessarily understand if you go and you allow yourself to step outside of what you know to be your truth and to be your way of experiencing your relationship with Source, right? If you allow yourself to step outside of that and to go and experience something else, but while experiencing, being open-minded, not trying to police or, police your attempt at experiencing this new thing, right? You may in fact see and learn and grow in your awareness in many beautiful ways. The understanding now of how you experience your attempts to actually connect may in fact be expanded, right? It may in fact allow you to see things if you're able to sit there neutrally with non-judgment or assumptions and just be a part with non-attachment, not looking for a certain outcome, just to be aware, just to watch. You may in fact learn some things and allow yourself to be open to a greater view, a greater understanding. So there's something here about that. There's something here about releasing yourself to be able to experience something else, and great benefits in allowing yourself to do that. And it has something to do with fear of losing something, fear of judgment, fear of pain. There's some element of fear that has kept us in a very stagnant, small space. Yeah, there's something here about that. Now, filling the world, one second here. couldn't possibly do a reading without at least dropping one card, right? Thank God I have fingers for toes. Filling the world is the last piece of this. And when we talk about filling the world, of course, she's holding the world in her hands. Let's see if we can piece this together. This is sensitivity to others. Sensitivity to others. And this is also awareness of a world perspective on a broader perception. This could actually be someone, and it almost feels like a gift. The gift of, what is that? Oh, okay. Give me a moment here as I come back to myself. Not the gift of seeing. There is one of the six senses that talk about the gift of feeling, and it's someone that's able to really tap empathically in the gift of feeling. It's going to come to me. It's not coming to me, but when it does, I'll let you know. Dang it. So there's this gift of feeling here that's coming out. And it usually is around empaths, like someone who's very strongly empathic and has possibly situations where they get overloaded emotionally. This could be someone who is a sponge, who is able to actually absorb energy and possibly find yourself in the situation of being too open, right? And possibly carrying, things that you don't necessarily intend on carrying, and find yourself in overwhelm a lot or overload, right? That could be what someone is dealing with. But it's a good thing. Having empathy is a good thing. And it helps us to understand that we're not alone. And it's a beautiful capacity to have, to be able to connect with others, right? It can give us a very profound sense of belonging, and it could help us to be able to experience being a part of the whole, being a part of a collective. But on the flip side of that, it can be overwhelming, right? Especially when you find it hard to set boundaries for yourself. Or for others, right? And you may not know where to cut things off. You may find it difficult to do that. And so this could also be Spirit telling you that this is a time to really utilize boundaries as you allow yourself to go beyond your fear. I can't help but feel like this could be someone who is very empathic, who has the gift of feeling. Like you tap in to people very easily, and that could be what is stimulating that fear. And so part of that, understanding that gift that you have, is being aware, right? Having good boundaries, understanding what's yours and what's not. And understanding that when you do feel that energy of feeling off or drained, or you're with someone, and this could be someone who is like an energy vampire, someone who siphons energy, right? This is understanding and being able to protect yourself, knowing when to cut people off or when something's not good for you. I don't care how sweet the person is, how beautiful, how charismatic they could be. There could be a very beautiful sense of attraction that you feel to this people, but there is something very unhealthy about that too. It could be, right? There could be a level of codependence underlying that closeness, right? And when you allow your boundaries to become too open and too porous. And so this is telling you, like, there's no need to fear, right? If this is, for some of you, I'm tapping in, this could be that source of fear of being closed off to new experiences. This is just letting you know that this is a need for you to trust yourself, to trust your boundaries, and to learn a practice of taking care of yourself, of saying no, of avoiding the temptation to turn off that intuitive feel and just go numb instead of being present, right? There's some level of power there that Spirit is pointing to. And it's all about you learning to operate in that. Learning to operate in that. And you know who you are, okay? Also, along with this, Spirit is asking you to actually, pointing back to awareness again, of something about the words, using your words, understanding the power of your words that you speak and how they actually affect others. And so this is about a few different things. Speaking on one level, and there's this energy of using your gift. There's this empathic gift I'm feeling here that possibly needs to be honed in and perfected and mastered, because that is where your magic lies. That's where your gift is. And that's important here. That may be the thing that has been shied away from because it has led you to this very scary place of not feeling able to control the situation. Maybe you feel you allow yourself to get to a place where you feel powerless, but Spirit is asking you to hone in on that and master it. That's your gift. For someone else, there's something about the ability to speak and understand the power in your words and how it actually affects others. And to balance that, you're not being guided to hold back, but it's understanding how to wield that power wisely. Use your words wisely. Say what needs to be said. This is not about people pleasing and holding yourself back, but it's also about using that gift wisely and mastering it, because there is a gift there with someone, a gift of speaking, the power in your voice. There's a sensitivity there that I'm feeling for both of those things for someone. And so let's go ahead and end in our tarot cards here. So first we came out with the 5 of Wands, but it's on the shadow side. And so this is usually not the type of energy that I would be excited about. The 5 of Wands is, it's a little bit scattered. And it might end up being like this very competitive energy. It's coming in on the shadow side. And so 2025 may have unexpected clashes, or even for some, this could point to like legal battles that may arise for you in 2025. And these aren't things that will arise randomly. This is something that you may do to call out this energy. And if it's not legal, it could just be someone feeling like something has been done and so they need to retaliate, right? Sometimes we think, oh, people just pick on us for nothing. No, it's not nothing. You said or you did something that actually pricked someone, and it may not have even been intentional. This is their response to you stepping into your power, right? You stepping into your power simply provoked them or called them out in some type of way. Spirit is letting you know when you step beyond whatever this is that has been held back, 2025 is going to be a year and opportunity for you to step out. And when you do that, that may in fact create friction. But understand that it has nothing to do with you. It's just about you stepping into your power. But there's an understanding beyond what is seen that is needed. And there's a level of you to be understanding of this is how people are going to react when you step into your power. So don't take it personally. Okay? Don't take it personally. Whether that's creating boundaries for people, for yourself, and not being the people pleaser, right? People are going to be possibly offended by that. My spirit is letting you know. But again, this is not for us to worry about, right? This is not for you to worry about. We're stepping beyond the fear of loss, of conflict, of, being misunderstood. This is something that you need to do despite what's happening on the outside of you. Okay? And then we have the Hanged Man, which came in the shadow side as well. There's something to be learned here. And so from the negative aspect or the shadow side, we find that getting worked up about things doesn't do us any good. Okay? The only thing that does is really make things worse. And so this is really reminding us to be thoughtful and to let go of things that will incite anger and retaliation and to do more than necessary, right? The hangman is really an energy of pause, taking moments to rejoice in the moments of silence that we can take. Because in that silence, we get a chance to reflect on what really happened, not how we responded to it, but what really happened. Right? What really happened was you stood in your power and they were offended by that. That had nothing to do with you. You can't control people's actions when you decide to stand up and do what's right for you in any moment. Right? And so there's no need to get worked up about that. You continue to stand in your power and continue to move forward. But it's about really having the moment to reflect on what really happened in the moment. Sometimes it's pointing to the fact that, you know what, okay, I took it that way, but really there wasn't really an injustice that was done to me. Maybe there was something I did do that deserved that response, right? Maybe I didn't really see clearly. Maybe I jumped to conclusions too fast. Maybe I deserve that in part, but it's taking a moment to really be calm, to allow yourself to invite in peace and patience and deny myself to take any action. That's a necessary sacrifice, right? Those moments will be necessary as you delve beyond fear to this place of the unknown that you haven't experienced before. Lots of reflection, lots of awareness I'm feeling here for this. And lastly, we have the Ace of Cups, which actually came out on the light side of this card. And this is very beautiful because the Ace of Cups is that energy of having the new experience, experiencing something new. And being that it's an ace and it's positive, you hold in your hand, right, this opportunity. The opportunity, an opportunity of a lifetime. And this opportunity has the potential, like, to breathe life into spaces that are dark, to breathe health into spaces that are unhealthy. You know, it almost has the ability to transform. That's what I'm getting. It's almost like this overflowing cup that's available to all. Anybody who needs it, including you. And it's a powerful energy of newness coming in, like the beginning of like an event that's going to bring this overflow of love, peace, and awareness. And that may in fact point to this energy that you're bringing in, my group number 2s. When you step beyond fear, this feels like it's going to be the consequence of you stepping into your fear, stepping beyond fear. Consequence can be good. Many times we use that word from a negative perspective, but it can be good. The consequences of a right action is good. Yeah. And so the Ace of Cups is actually opening up this door, this doorway to bring light into the world, bring more light into the world. And I clarified it because I wanted to get some specifics around this. And what came out was the Queen of Swords and Justice. The Queen of Swords and Justice. And so the Ace of Cups is actually going to be like, you may in fact bring forth, or you may in fact carry this energy that's going to be like the answer or the solution for specific problems that may arise. And these problems could involve emotional things, and bring back balance, you know, emotionally into situations. Things that may in fact need rationality or, you know, calculation, you know, not jumping. It's almost like this hangman energy, not jumping into things, taking that moment of pause to be cool and calculated. This may in fact be a defense, you know, to situations where things may be very riotous and out of control. You may in fact, there's something I feel here where you are being handed the power to bring calm back into that situation. The gifts that came out in this reading was the gift of empathy. You're able to feel things and to feel people. They may not even be expressing how they're feeling, but you will be tapped in that way. Or you're able to speak something and cause a response to what it is that you have spoken. And so Spirit has guided you to use your words wisely because they can incite wars or peace. So there's some gifting that this Ace of Cups is bringing out that you will have an effect on situations, high energetic situations that could either go one way or the other. And you may be that force that's able to tilt the scales either way. Because this is talking about the enemies being angry and hastily wanting to do anything that will make people move away from rationality, from their higher selves. But this Ace of Cups is what actually is bringing that back into balance. It's shedding and pouring light and love and peace into that situation. Now, the other energy that came out was the Justice. And the Justice is talking about not having any more sense of, it's like losing all hope and being stuck in this endless cycle. But this cup is bringing us away from that. It's providing a solution. Breaking the cycle and bringing things back to the light. It's almost like coming back from this sense of hopelessness beyond something that has happened, right? It's almost like also being placed in a position of being able to be like a righteous energy in a situation, like a righteous judge, being able to understand what happened, right? And being able to make decisions to bring in a level of integrity in a situation and bring things back into balance. There will be situations, Spirit is saying, where you'll be possibly accused of things, but it's not to worry about those things. The only thing that you are being held accountable for is to bring things back into right perspective for those that you have been involved with, or you've been placed to bring a situation back to right standing. Everything else, it doesn't matter, basically. And so the Ace of Cups, I feel like, is bringing a level of power in situations that you'll be dealing with this year. I don't know. That's what it feels like to me. Maybe you will be placed in high levels of authority that will place you in a position to make decisions around outcomes. Okay? But that's what I'm getting. Stepping beyond fear. You're being called. There's something that you bring to the world, to those that are involved with you, that's going to make all the difference. And so you stepping into your power, you stepping beyond fear, is going to affect more than just you. Okay? That's what I'm getting for my group number 2s. Very exciting energy that we're stepping into in 2025. And that's all I have. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you, Spirit, for coming in and speaking with us. This has been very enlightening, even for me. So like, share, comment. I'm going to post another video up here. If you like this one, take a look at that one. You may enjoy that one as well. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. This was a general read. If you're looking for something personal, hit me up in my email, or you can go directly to my calendar, okay? Till next time, take care. Bye.